Okay, folks, after a little bit of chaos and turmoil, we are back trackside, and immediately the timing boards are lighting up with some brilliant times. We've got Andre Molnar currently sat at the top, Benzoni second, 0.198, 0.211, 222 goes to Rishan Jacobs with Gregory Zibel and Shimon Lakomsky making in through the top five. You can see the rest of the field coming through in due course with their times. You've got Riley Mackay coming down in through the end of the second sector now. Let's see what he can do here. He's going to be pushing, giving it absolutely everything as we come through on this second sector of the track, heading on to sector 3, final area of the course. Of course, you have to absolutely nail the line, but be careful of the final turn. But Mackay is going to go for an abandon there. Not sure what's going on with him.
So Riley Mackay straight into the pit lane, so he will not be able to set a lap on the first run, along with also Tycho Hardy and Felipe Saz. So those are the two drivers with a lap time not on the board currently, but it is a short circuit still, the normal 18 minutes, of course, that you get in qualifying. But we've got a short circuit, which means you're able to make it around a bit more quicker than you are at some of the other venues, so it's a bit more easier to set a lap time and come around into the pit lane, change the tires, and get back out there for another run, as the drivers are doing right now.
Okay, folks, so second run of cars now coming through, and let's see what they can do here. Got 3 cars left to do it. Tycho Hardy, Riley Mackay, and Felipe Sousa still yet to get a run out, and valid run at that is on the board. I see a couple of NPCs floating in the background. Interesting choice there, but let's see what they can do. And now we can see that a lot of drivers are coming out in full force. We've got the likes of Shimon Lakomsky still remaining in the pits. Oh no, Lakomsky in fact is going to be one of the first currently out and nearing the front of this field. So let's see what he can make of this one, because he's going to certainly be one of the drivers to beat here. So let's see what these drivers can do. Lakomsky out first. Well, one of the first out of this cohort. So they've got a few drivers who are around him either side, but the important thing here is he's got the time, he's got the pace, and currently he's a 10th up on the sector, so pretty good initial run there. Turns 2 and 3, of course, being hotly debated whether they are considered a chicane, whether they are considered 2 turns, or whether turn 3 should just be a turn 2, but that is going to be a debate as old as time itself. Well, he has something that Lakomsky hasn't got time for. Now, into the end of the second sector, looking like a good line as he comes down the hill. He's going to keep a bit of momentum, not quite the same pace that he was looking for, a little bit wide on the apex as we come into sector 3. Final a couple of corners now, final detection zone as well. If this was a race situation, he'd want to be close in proximity with the other cars. Final corner, careful of track limits, right to the edge of the white line. And as we come across the line, it's looking good for Lakomsky. It's looking very good indeed. 0.153. That is the new pole.
New pole position lap so far in this session. 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go. This, we currently are watching the man Riccardo Benzoni now goes to the front of the field. Andre Molnar, who was originally in first position before we got this second run underway, has been able to improve to second position, as we also still see a lot of improvements. Rishan Jacobs making his way towards the end of the lap, making his way through turn number 9, and then we'll be attacking through turn number 10 and hoping that he can keep it inside the white lines, which he's been able to do. Tycho Hardy goes to the front of the field as Rishan Jacobs comes across the line. It was an improvement of time by 37 thousandths of a second, but not off position for him. He's going to be in 7th, but Hardy currently at the front of the field.
Sousa coming in with 15th position, a 10th behind Bradley Holdham. Exactly. And Riley Mackay coming in with a 0.203 to score himself 9th on the boards. So this is going to be quite the final shootout, if I do say so myself. We've got an exciting rest of this qualifying session ahead, and the margins being so tight here in Austria in particular, because it is such a short track and one that is simple on the surface, but execution of these corners at such a high level, that takes practice.
Indeed, might be a short circuit, but there is quite a lot that you need to get right still around this venue, especially when you've got so many other drivers in this field that are closely matched with you. Any sort of little errors or mistakes could mean that you lose quite a lot of positions in this qualifying session, which means that you need to get your first and second run right, because in case that you don't get your third one, at least you've got still a good lap time that can keep you higher up the field. 8 minutes and 45 seconds to go on the clock. Majority of the field are in the pit lane. We'll be seeing them head back out, but it's Tycho Hardy, the only driver who's in the 1 minute 2s right now at the moment, a 1 minute 2.970 for Hardy. That is where all of the other drivers will be looking to chase and beat, as we see more cars now starting to head out onto the circuit.
You've got Labella and Hold'em remaining out. Unfortunately, Labella not getting the improvement that they were looking for. Hold'em himself also going to be coming in. Both of them did seem like they had positive Sector 1 deltas. And an important thing to note, folks, as you may have just seen there, with Labella and Hold'em ghosting through each other, collisions are turned off for all qualifying sessions. This is due to the overpowered slipstream effect, presenting an unfair advantage to drivers in proximity to one another. So to prevent that, ensure everyone gets a fair qualifying, collisions are turned off for the quali session, and this will mean a mandatory lobby restart to change that back to full race settings. It is a workaround at the end of the day, but it is something that we have to do to ensure a fair playing ground for all drivers involved.
Indeed, because especially around this type of circuit, you've got 20, well, we've got 18 in the field right now, but we would usually have 20 drivers all attacking. We've got a short circuit, and they are, of course, instructed to try and keep back from other cars to prevent the slipstream, the overpowered slipstream that they will be getting if they are close to another car. But it is very hard around this circuit, and we've got 3 straight, so we've got plenty of opportunities for drivers to get a good turn, so it can be a little bit unfair. So to do that, luckily we've been able to find this solution, which is going to make it all perfect, and basically we can have a fair qualifying as well, and then we can turn it back to normal for the race, so nothing is affected there. We're still, of course, using the F1 World cars as we wait for EA to find a solution to all of that is going on right now. Hopefully they'll be able to figure that out soon, as more laps now get underway with 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go.
We're on board with Julian Klaffenbach, of course, championship contender here at this round of the season. They're looking very strong in terms of the points, but they're not looking so strong here in this quali session. Only 18 drivers, but a lot of time that they have to make up. Quarter of a second up by the end of Sector 2. Can they carry that momentum into Sector 3? Let's see who can really capitalize on a track like Austria. Big slide, bit of a tail snap from Klaffenbach, but does manage to make it work through the final corner. Very impressive recovery there. That is a .059 and just 2 milliseconds behind Benzoni for an impressive second row entry. Got a few more drivers now coming through. We have got plenty of cars filing their way down. Molnar started out very strong, but invalidated on this run, is not going to get an improvement. Lekomsky, .044. They're going to put themselves on the front row alongside Tycho Hardy's very impressive initial run. Is Tycho going to be going for another run? Looks like they're about to be setting themselves up for such, but a little bit of a wobbly entry into the last corner could compromise their start speed, as Daniel Hjeldsen just finishes their lap and goes into second themselves, 2 milliseconds ahead of Lekomsky.
Halliday able to improve up to 7th position. Riccardo Benzoni goes to the front of the field. He beats Tycho Hardy's lap time and becomes the second driver to get into the 1 minute 2. So a crucial improvement there for Riccardo Benzoni. He is able to find the lap time to go to the front of the field. Tycho Hardy, though, is still pushing on now. He's making his way in the second sector, so he'll be looking to try and go even quicker. Not the first sector that he would have wanted, but he can turn that around if he can have a decent second sector. That is exactly what Hardy will be chasing. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's been able to recover in the second and third sector. Brad Hold'em, though, has been able to find the time. 1 minute 2.939 for Brad Hold'em. He is now going to go to first position. So it's Brad Hold'em, then Riccardo Benzoni, Tycho Hardy right now the top 3. And it seems like Hardy's coming into the pit lane. He is not happy with his effort on that lap, so he's going to come into the pit lane, not waste any time, get another set of boots on that car, and get ready to go once again for what should be a 1 lap shootout to decide who's going to be on pole.
Lekomsky is going to be one as well who will definitely be looking to improve. Of course, they had that second row entry, but now they are going to be all the way down in 5th. And this is pretty much an indicator of track evolution. The evolution of the track is very powerful as you get into the final 5 minutes of qualifying. Of course, the other drivers, they've laid down a bit of rubber. They've got the track up to an optimal temperature along the racing line, and they're in that ideal operating window for the best qualifying times possible. As we can see, there's a few other cars still on the track, but no one fully committing to a run, and it's going to be a final shootout from everyone as they can push and see who is going to come out on top. We'll only have to wait a couple of minutes to find out, as Klaffenbach is going to be the first out of the next set.
So Klaffenbach is going to be leading us then on to the final runs in this qualifying session to decide who is going to be taking pole position. And it's going to be hopefully a very close and interesting fight. The man who currently sits in P13 was the man who started on pole at Silverstone. So it was Kian on pole at Silverstone. Then one of our reserve drivers, Cohen, started on pole last summer out in Miami. So who is going to be our third pole sitter of the season is going to be the question. Or will Kian be able to make it a repeat and take his second pole position of the season? He's going to have to work hard for that one right now because he is in P13, but it's a wide open section. If you can find the time, then it could easily be a lap that takes you right to the front of the field or to a good position for the race. Plenty of overtaking opportunities, but if you do get stuck in a bit of a DRS drain, it can be hard to make your way through, as Julian Klaffenbach then begins a lap down towards turn 1.
Let's see what they can do here. Of course, they have got a lot riding on their shoulders. Good initial run, but this is probably the best chance that they're going to get as we are coming to the climactic moments of qualifying now. Good improvement on the first sector, about a 10th up in just a couple of corners. Could speak volumes to their final result. Even with that time now, that would bring them into the 102s if everything else was kept exactly the same. Now, coming out into the downhill section, a little bit of tyre smoke kicking up, a little bit of wobble going over the curbs coming out through turn 4. But they are going to hold it together and, of course, leaning into the handling characteristics of that more nose-happy, that snappier handling approach. Looking very good on the timing so far. Klaffenbach is going to be certainly pushing with 110% here. They just need to keep it within the white lines as they go through the final couple of corners. Unfortunately, an invalidation on the penultimate corner. That would have been pole position for Klaffenbach, but it's not to be as they just extended that little bit too far. And more cars are going to now have an opportunity to take their rightful place near the front. As you can see, many more cars now starting their laps. That's going to be Stasherer. That's going to be Lekomsky. That's going to be Molnar coming through in due course, about to set a new time. What's it going to be from the lime green? It's going to be a .826. A very impressive run. And the Shark F1 cars, I was informed, they are running specifically to get around the F1 World Cars. That is going to be an impressive pole because there's over a 10th in it.
Indeed, over a 10th in it. Very close stuff. And let's see who's going to be able to contend. Kamil Stoucher has invalidated his lap. That is not what he wanted at all. Currently sits in 15th position and could be dropping down even further. He'll try and make it round and start another lap as well. Rishan Jacobs also finding an improvement by 1.5 tenths of a second. He'll try keep it clean through the 9th turn, through the 10th turn. This is where the lap can be undone for drivers, and over the road goes Rishan Jacobs, and it has become undone for him. He's invalidated the time.
That was a big snap from Rishan there, just on the final corner. A little bit too much tail snap. Wasn't able to catch it properly. Unfortunate to see. Stasherer also going to have an invalidation, meaning there's no improvement from him today. Labella retires out at best in P16. Molnar going into the pits. There's not going to be any more times coming out of him, but let's see what the rest of this field can do. Stevens goes 8th fastest. That's going to be also Sousa not making an improvement. Leo Lund going into 16th, displacing Labella down to P17. Tycho Hardy, no improvement from the car in white, despite a strong initial showing in the first to be in the 2s. It's going to remain in 4th position for now. You've got a few other cars coming through. Brenzoni Benzoni is going to improve. 0.922. He's going to put himself on the front row. Is there going to be any challenge to that? None from McKay. None from some of the rest of the field. You've got an invalidation from Lekomsky. No dice from him either. Jan Halliday crossing the line, no improvement. 2 milliseconds off a potential new time. As more cars come into the pit lane, you've got unfortunate times for some, but Stasherer is going to commit to a final run regardless. They did have an invalidation. Is it going to be enough? It's enough for P12. So very good recovery effort there. And that is your qualifying here, folks.
Good recovery from Camel Stoucher indeed. He would have been low on ERS. He had to charge it in limited time around a short circuit. So he's been able to do that. And he was able to get a final run in that improved him a couple of places, which could be crucial come the race. But let's run you through now the rest of the order.
Let's see the rest of the order here. So got Andre Molnar taking pole position here in qualifying with Riccardo Benzoni, Bradley Holdham, Tycho Hardy, Shimon Lekomsky, Daniel Hjeltsen, Gregory Zibil, Liam Stevens, Julian Klaffenbach, and Jan Halliday making your top 10. Second half, you go to Rashan Jacobs, Kamil Stasherer, Riley McKay, Kian Godendorp, Felipe Sousa, Leo Lund, Valentino Nobella, and then top 8 rounding it out in 18th. We've also been informed that Sami Shemzi is going to start from P19. They will be joining us for the race at least, but will of course be at the back of the grid. And we will be right back with you after a short word from our sponsor. Welcome back, folks, once again. So now we look to the standings, and of course this is the standings after Miami, and what a round it was. Klaffenbach sat in second place. Of course, we poked his eyes to him earlier, but Tycho Hardy currently sat fourth after that qualifying session, but first in the championship with 25 points. Benzoni in third, with Leo Lund and Tony Roche making fourth and fifth. Looking like quite the grid spread coming through, but we have seen some pretty impressive upward swings from some of the cars on this field, at least if qualifying is anything to go by.
Indeed, so we're going to be in for a very interesting race, and with more rounds that we do in the season, we're going to see even more twists and turns in the championship. So let's see how the championship is going to look after this race. Lot can change, lot will change. It's always a chaotic race at Austria. Should be the case here once again in PCF2, as we of course are just doing our lobby back to normal for the race.
Yep, and here are the results of that previous race, and where we can potentially look to see some action, as Klaffenbach and Hardy, I think, is going to be setting up to be the battle of the season. We've got those two, very close contention, consistently at the top end of the field. Then we had Leo Lund also in third, with Stevens, Holdham, Cohen, Godendorp, Halliday, Alves, and Zibil making up the top 10. We've got a chance for a few reserves to definitely make a splash from last time, and this time once again, because we have Shemzi coming in, Cohen also, Zibil and Mackay, who are set to be the reserves, but I'm not sure if all of them are going to be attending here. I certainly haven't seen Cohen, but we are going to get Shemzi, as we were saying. It's going to be joining just for the race, so we'll be starting in P19, and we will see what they can do out here. But as we take a bit of a moment to breathe, we wanted to thank everyone for technical issues. We had a little bit of a hiccup at the start of the stream, a little bit of technical problems with connection to the server and connection to YouTube itself for streaming, as well as Twitch. So whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, welcome, and thank you for your patience as we got everything sorted out. But predictions, it's prediction time. Omi, who is one driver coming off of that quali session that you are looking to see some action from tonight?
There is quite a lot of drivers that could be in contention, but I will give you a few names. I'm not just going to leave you with that as well. I think definitely some drivers to keep an eye on could be Molnar. Definitely keep your eye on him. Riccardo Benzoni definitely can't count him out as well. Klaffenbach could be trying as well to be in the fight. So there's many drivers who could be fighting at the front of the field, including Tycho Hardy. So it's wide open. It could be anyone's race. All drivers are going to need to be alert of safety cars. There could be some late drama. We do sometimes see a late safety car when everyone bolts on soft compound of tires and it's a race all the way to the end. So anything's possible here at Austria, and I'm really looking forward to it. I hope everyone is as well, and make sure you let us know your predictions in the live chat as well.
Yeah, as am I. In terms of my prediction, as much as I want to go for standard, stalwart, of the, let's say, the usual suspects, I want to look somewhere a little bit different. The main reason I say that is because we've had a lot of volatility in the early stages of this season. And with that in mind, there's one car that I want to see jumping up the field. I want to see Liam Stevens at the front. Now, Stevens has the potential. They're sixth in the standings. They got 8 points to their name. And it's a stark contrast to the 24s, 25s of Klaffenbach and Hardy. But they have the potential nonetheless. And that potential is going to be on potential. Well, give me a pound for every time I say potential this time. But it's going to be a chance to put that on display tonight. I think Austria is one of those tracks where a good strategy will take you a long way. And the mechanics, the moment to moment mechanics of the race can change, but really it's going to be set up with a strategy. A good strategy is going to be a defining factor in the race success tonight. I'm also looking at the likes of Riley Mackay, Andre Molnar, along with our usual suspects at the top. Of course, brilliant early quality performance from Tycho Hardy, and so many other options I could choose from. But I want to keep an eye on Liam Stevens in particular tonight. I have a gut feeling.
Well, let's hope that will turn into results for Liam Stevens. Of course, was able to get fourth position last time out in what was a pretty chaotic race where we saw lots of overtaking and lots of action towards the end. But yes, do keep an eye on Liam Stevens. He could definitely be one to watch throughout this race. And as Sappy mentioned, a driver with lots of potential. So hopefully we'll be able to see that out on show in the 36 laps of racing that we're going to get. Could be dry, so who knows what the weather is going to do.
Yeah, of course, so we head to Austria, as we've seen, 10 corners. So very high overall speed, but climbs up the hill before descending through turns 4 to 7. That's going to be a lot of overtaking opportunities into turn 3. It's going to be potentially a little bit of fighting heading into turn 4, and we might even see a little bit of action continue all the way through into turn 9, because of course turn 9 is where the pit line exit begins, or the pit line to go in formally, and drivers have been briefed on the pit exit and entry procedure, so they will want to get moves done before then. But we have seen moves in the past extend almost an entire lap before confirming for one driver or the other, and that's what I'm excited for, that moment-to-moment fight, as they're going to be drag racing through the DRS zones, the three of them along this track. I believe this track has the highest DRS to track ratio of any circuit on the calendar.
Yeah, lots of overtaking opportunities coming our way in this one. And as you mentioned, especially the battles that go on inside DRS trains, we see lots of corner after corner battling between the drivers, which continues all the way through and around the circuit. You could make a case for every corner where if a battle is really tight, we could see the battle continue for quite a few. Especially if both drivers do not want to give the position up. So do keep an eye out for that one, as we are soon going to be getting into the racing action as well. So you don't have to wait much, but do let us know your predictions on who do you think is going to be taking victory at the end of the 36 laps here at Austria.
Yeah, well, just a little bit of information before we jump into things. We have lost Top A. They've had a technical issue. They haven't been able to get back into the game following qualifying, so they are not going to be joining us. Chemsey is going to be taking that place, so we will still have 18 drivers, but we will not be joined by Top A. Instead, we will have Chemsey. So it's going to be interesting. Of course, both of them were at the back end of the grid. Tope was 18th and Chemsey would have been 19th. So getting a position graduation, but we'll have to only wait and find out. And before we jump into the race good and proper, be sure to support the people who support us. GT Omega Sim Racing Centre. Use code PSGL for a healthy discount. But with that being said, we're here in Austria and it's looking a little bit overcast, but otherwise things look to be set for some great racing.
Yes, wet or dry, exciting racing coming our way. Whether the weather is going to make a difference in this one, that is another question which will be answered throughout this race. But yes, looks overcast, so so there is a chance of rain later on in this one.
Yeah, well, time will only tell, and for the drivers, they are going to have to be very careful with how they set themselves up, how they poise and set their strategy, and the pit stop window is going to be that crucial linchpin for everyone. Whether they overcut, undercut, there's a lot of time to be gained and lost, just depending on where you frame yourself relative to your opponents. But we'll see what happens, because we have got just moments now before we go fully racing. Remember, collision's back on, and no formation lap. We are just going to be jumping straight into this. Ideal temp starts and perfect formation for everyone. We're just waiting for everyone to finally lock in their setups. And we should be getting underway. Let's see. Also, Otis, 2 right. Sorry, Nathan, I don't make the rules. But with all that being said, folks, we're about to get underway. Just waiting for final lock-ins. And then we also got, with the F1 World Cars, you don't know who your teammate's going to be. That's the other issue.
The situation in the pit lane.
What's happening with the sponsor boards? What's happening with the sponsor boards is the sponsor board file did not apparently apply correctly. But none of that matters now. The track is hot here in Austria. We're here for PSGL Season 37, and immediately it's going to be a quick getaway for everyone. Get out as fast as they can, try and get as much of a jump, and immediately Andre Molnar is going to be pushing quickly to the front of things. It's going to be Holden and Hardy trying to push, trying to fight, and seeing what space they can get. It's 2 wide, 3 wide if you go a bit further back. Big dive on the inside from Lekomsky on the edge of Hardy. Through into turn 3. Nicely done. Quick switchback. Excellently done there.
So, nothing concerned. Andrew Molnar at the front of the field. The battle for second place does continue with Brad Holdham trying to send it all the way around the outside of Riccardo Benzoni, who is keeping his foot in. We promise you battles that continue corner after corner, and this is one of them, because still trying to keep his foot in is Benzoni, but Brad Holdham has the position of second place at the moment. It's Benzoni in third, and then we have Lukimski, Tycho Hardy, and then we have Daniel Julian Klaffenbach, and our first hard runner in this field, it's Gregory, and he is being passed right now by Liam Stevens. He is the driver who we said to watch out in this one, and he is making his way up to P8.
Looks like medium to hard is going to be the predominant strategy for the field here. Of course, getting the initial pace out as soon as they can, get that initial push, and then jump everyone out on the field. We have already lost Sammy Chemsey just a single lap in. They have retired in the pit lane, so not sure what happened to cause such a commotion, but they are going to be down to 17 cars. We've got Holdham trying to play the defensive here and see if he can swat off Benzoni and Lekomsky, who are both eagerly waiting opportunity to fight for the position. Into turn 4, a little bit of contact on the diffuser from Lekomsky. Of course, Lekomsky very familiar with getting the elbows out. Benzoni briefly coming alongside, but it's not going to be enough for a position to be coming in for the R8G driver. You've got a little bit of a fighting in the mid-pack as well, as Jan Halliday is going to drop a couple of positions. In fact, it's going to be dropping down massively, seemingly having a bit of an issue there. They're going to be yielding all the way to P17. What do you think is the rationale behind that one?
Might have been contact. They were, of course, all battling in the mid-pack, as we would expect here at PSGL and trying to make their way through the field. So there possibly could have been a bit of contact into the pit lane. Does come Jan Halliday, and to get a 10-second penalty, is that a retirement in the pit lane for him? Yes, it is. So he's going to become our second retirement as we reach lap number 3. DRS, of course, opened. That was open one lap before, and we're getting a move for the race lead now. To the inside will go Brad Hold'em. That should be the race lead, easily sorted for him. What about Lukumski, though? He is going to be in third position, but Riccardo Benzoni is alongside, and he's going to have a chance to fight back. Andrew Molnar also going back for the lead. Lukumski up to third place he goes, and Andrew Molnar sends it around the outside to take the lead. Very close, though, in behind with Riccardo Benzoni, and we have Daniel up against Tycho Hardy, who's just defending from Julian Klaffenbach. Exciting racing already in this one. We're on the third lap. We've seen so much action. It's Molnar back to the race lead he goes, and then Hold'em and Lukumski the top 3.
It's 2 wide, it's 3 wide, it's teetering on 4 as we head into the 4th corner. And then coming up to the latter half of the lap, we already see the drivers give absolutely everything. Elbows out, Hilton already going full recharge mode. They expended everything into these moves these past couple of laps. Goes to show how hard these drivers are pushing to get these positions. Molnar was not content with staying in P2. He's retaken the position at the front, but Hold'em simultaneously is going to be pushing hard for that one. There's going to be a bit of DRS. There's going to be a bit of battery deploy. They're going to once again push it through into turn 3. Very nice line coming through there. Once again is going to exert that on-track pressure as Lukomski does the same on Benzoni. Is there going to be any form of retaliation from either driver here, as Lukomski is going to be stuck dead in the middle of it all? They're going to be optimistic, peeking into the inside. Not going to be a move for them there, just a healthy amount of lockup for their troubles, as Yeltsin now goes into P6 with Hardy promoting himself, although that's not going to be sticking. Yeltsin, very nice move.
Yelton able to move up to P5. He goes past Tycho Hardy as well, and Hardy's going to have to look at his mirrors because Julian Klaffenbach is there. He'll try go around the outside of turn 9. He'll back out of that one. He knows there's a major opportunity coming his way. Brad Hold'em with a 5/10 advantage over the line. That's one of the biggest advantages we've seen so far in the race. That's how close it has been. And Julian Klaffenbach once again looking for it down to that first corner. He will not commit to that move though as we exit through turn number 1, but he'll get a huge opportunity. We'll be using ERS all the way up the hill towards the second braking zone on this circuit. He's going tight to the inside, and is he getting through under braking? They have to be careful because there are cars ahead, and Tycho Hardy sideways momentarily. It is going to be Julian Klaffenbach who is momentarily ghosted as he goes wheel to wheel with Daniel, and Klaffenbach is up to P6 as the battle for the lead continues, and going through is Andrea Molnar, so he retakes the lead of this one, and then it's Klaffenbach ahead of Tycho Hardy. Phenomenal action in this one, bit of contact there as well as they all battled it out down to turn number 3.
Never say that Klaffenbach doesn't know how to get the elbows out right to the inside of the circuit, teetering on the grass there. Klaffenbach was committed to that overtake, and they did make it stick at least for one. So really great showing from them there. And P6 at this point in the race, it's a solid position to be. Counterintuitively, you don't want to be in first at this early stage of the race, because with DRS, you're going to be run out of room, run out of resource, and you're going to be fighting a losing battle. So it's interesting to see how the strategy and the micro and macros are going to play out as this race progresses. Hold'em is once again going to go for the attack, this time on the outside of Molnar. Wants to see if they can close the door on them, as Lukomski is going to follow suit and cut through with the path that Hold'em left for him. Very impressive stuff there. Is there going to be a defense from Lukomski? Yes, there is. Molnar's going to remain steadfast in fighting for the podium. They're going to be going to the outside. They're going to keep trying to push that position as much as they can. But it is going to be filing behind the orange, at least for now. Molnar now into P3.
Also, be past stuff here at Austria. Sometimes you have no other choice but to go for the move, because if you don't, you could be under pressure from many cars who are looking for the overtakes, who are looking for the move. So keep your eye everywhere in this field, where we could be getting some late dive bombs coming in from the drivers. So Molnar currently finds himself down to third position. Riccardo Benzoni looks attacky behind as well, and then we've got Julian Klaffenbach still right now chasing down P5. Jan Halliday has left the session, but he's already retired, so that will not make a difference. Unfortunate though for him and Sami Chemzi to see that race already ended on the opening few laps of this one. Lukumski had a go at Brad Hold'em instead. That opened the door for Molnar, and that will also open the door for Benzoni. Molnar out wide, and now Benzoni will get the inside line down towards turn number 4. We are going to run and this battle will continue all the way down to the braking zone. That could get 3 wide momentarily. That was super close, with Molnar just staying ahead of Riccardo Benzoni, looking left, looking right, but still in 4th place, not able to get through. We look further back though. Is it going to be the same story? Klaffenbach trying to send it all the way around the outside as these two battle it out, and it seems like getting the power down. That should be the position gain for Julian Klaffenbach, and is.
Very impressive fighting there. Got a little bit dicey for Benzoni coming out of turns 3 and 4. Very much could have gone either way, especially as there was a bit of contact between positions 2 and 3, Lukomski and Molnar. Luckily, no major incidents. Nobody was spun the other way, and now Klaffenbach is capitalizing on some of these mistakes. This is what I like to call a little bit of soft power, a little bit of exerting pressure on your competition, not necessarily fighting hard with them, but just making your presence known, peeking out behind them, going for moves even if you know that they won't stick necessarily. Making your opponents acutely aware of your presence, sometimes to the point where they don't focus on their own and their own race, eventually forcing them into a mistake. That's what pressure is all about in a race situation. A few lock-ups from Lukomski, definitely going to be wearing that front right tyre out a little bit faster than the others at this rate. There's going to be Hold'em continuing to put that pressure on, continuing to hold firm for the top position, as there's going to be a fight throughout the entire second sector between these two. Lukomski is giving it everything, but is remaining reserved. Hold'em having to exert a lot more pressure and exert a lot more battery in order to fend off this fight. Lukomski could have him on the ropes here with a bit more of this.
Indeed. Over the line we go to begin lap number 9 of this one. Everyone so close together, pushing each other through these corners at the moment. And we go to turn 1 and are heading down towards turn number 3 on the circuit. Immediately going through, that was a simple pass for Lukomski, and that will leave Brad Hold'em vulnerable. So Andrea Molnar is now going to get to the inside line, and that should be the position gained. And also, Brad Hold'em will not have the best traction, but he's going to be able to fight back. So he's used a bit of ERS to fight back against Andrea Molnar. That's also saved him from being under attack from Riccardo Benzoni. Down to turn 4 we go once again. Lukomski's got the lead. Who has got second place? So it seems like Brad Hold'em just around the outside will be able to hold a position, and keep your eye on Riccardo Benzoni trying to get to the inside of turn 6, but he isn't going to commit for that late send to the inside. So it's Lukomski, then Brad Hold'em just about holding off on Andrea Molnar. These guys all continuing to battle. Liam Stevens is going to be looking to try and make a move for P6. He'll be trying to get past Daniel as well, so keep an eye on that battle. That will be commencing very, very shortly. And then behind, they're all just trying to get better exits, trying to see where their opportunity is as well. And it's been a phenomenal race so far, and we're only on lap number 10. We've had so much action, and we're still awaiting the pit stop phase.
I've got to say, Molnar is in a bit of a rock and a hard place right now, because on the back they got Klaffenbach and Benzoni both breathing heavily, waiting for that opportunity to go on the attack, go on the chase. And then on the front side, you've got Hold'em and Lukomski all looking to get a bit of a breakaway. You can see Molnar already feeling a bit of that pressure, a bit of a lock-up heading into turn 3. You can see Klaffenbach peeking to the right, peeking to the left, going hyper-aggressive with some of these moves. Molnar committing hard to the outside line at turn 4, trying to get a bit of momentum on the exit, not quite having it. Here comes Klaffenbach. That's going to be 1. That's going to be potentially 2 for the R8G driver. Can they make it stick? Yes, they can. Double overtake.
Phenomenal stuff from Julian Klaffenbach, able to move up to 3rd position, getting past Molnar, getting past Benzoni as well. Phenomenal stuff, and he isn't happy with only 3rd. He wants 2nd. He is risking it through turn number 9, and he was always going to be shown the curve. Lukomski's going to be a fan of this battling that's going on for 2nd position in places that we usually wouldn't see it. Into the pit lane comes Hardy, into the pit lane comes Felipe Salza. Those were the 2 drivers that were on the medium compound of tyre. Looking for the move now is Benzoni. He's going to try to get to the inside of Andrea Molnar. Julian Klaffenbach at the meanwhile is going to also be looking to try get 2nd position, but it will be the battle for 4th that is going to get very, very interesting, and it will be the position gained for Riccardo Benzoni, and Andrea Molnar is going to have to be careful because he could be under more pressure down towards turn 4.
Yeah, having to go wide on turn 3, basically got nowhere else to go, unfortunately. Has left them in a really tough situation, as now they're going to be dropping firmly to Benzoni, and Kjelton is their next target, as they're going to be trying to take the momentum around the outside. Very sharp, very quick, as they are going to be remaining too wide throughout the entirety of Sector 2. Kjelsen just going to have the better line, going to have command of the apexes, and means that they are going to have a bit more momentum heading into the final sector. They are going to take that top spot. Hold'em is going to now head into the pits, 10 laps on the mediums. I have to wonder if it's a little bit premature for some. Hardy, Salsa, and now Hold'em all jumping in for a fresh set of the white wall rubber.
So into the pit lane he goes then, so it'll be interesting to see where what pace he'll have on those tires compared to all of these drivers who are sticking it out longer as well in this race right now. But we have Kelson currently running in 4th position, still trying to make the move on Riccardo Benzoni further back. The hard runners also doing their own little personal battle, and it seems like Gregory's also going to try as Julian Klaffenbach is going to move up into the race lead. He's able to get past Lukumski. Back to the battle though we'll go for the drivers on the mediums and hards. Rishan Jacobs is on the mediums and he's having to defend from Gregory, who is getting to the inside, and Gregory is getting the position, so he moves up to P7. The mediums possibly starting to fade away for these drivers. The drivers on the hards all trying to go on the attack while they battle amongst each other at the same time. Liam Stevens currently in 6th. He's now gonna also need to keep an eye in his mirrors, as it seems like Lukumski is diving it into the pit lane, and there will definitely be more in, including Andre Molnar and Rishan Jacobs.
Komsky, Molnar, Jacobs all into the pits now for the white wall rubber. It's about 11 to 13 laps seems to be the average lifespan of the medium before they start to lose their luster a little bit. And that is good going, but they're going to have to take the rest of that distance on the hard. So potentially predicting an undercut and trying to make sure that the likes of Tycho Hardy and Felipe Salsa don't have all of the fun being the earliest to swap over on to their new compounds. We see a fight right at the top. Benzoni and Klaffenbach going side by side. Of course, these two have come to blows in seasons and races past. They have known to very much get the elbows out, known to push each other to the limits. Of course, being RHG teammates, they know how to stress each other to the limit. Question is that going to keep on track, or is it going to get a little bit too much here? Either way, both of them now jumping into the pit lane. It looks like they're both going to jump in on 12 laps for lap 13. Going to be into the medium and on to the hard alongside Liam Stevens, leaving Yeltsin the only driver left on a yellow wall.
Yep, so Yelton will go round once again. He'll be the last driver to pit off those medium compound tyres, as you mentioned as well. And currently, the net race lead on the circuit is Brad Hold'em, as he will make his way through. But still, of course, as we would expect, under pressure, and that's a battle that keeps changing. Tycho Hardy will pull to the outside and take the position, but we have Riccardo Benzoni, Julian Klaffenbach all rejoining now, along with Liam Stevens out onto the circuit, currently on the road, but we still have the hard runners to pit currently on the road. Riccardo Benzoni in 11th, and then Julian Klaffenbach currently in 12th, with Liam Stevens in 14th. So that's where they have filtered out. Will, of course, gain some of those places back when the hard runners do pit, but they will be ones to watch later on, as they, of course, are going to push on the medium compound of tyres later on in this race. And we're still awaiting Daniel to dive it into the pit lane, and he's going to dive it into the pit lane now.
Yeah, well, you're seeing a different spread of tyre wear throughout the field. For instance, you've got the mediums currently about, say, 40-ish%, 40 to 50, so they will have lost their pace advantage by now, and you want to jump onto something like the hards. The hards, despite being 14 laps old, only about 25% wear on average, so that is considering an aggressive driving style as well. Very important to keep in mind, as they don't just have a flat line and then sudden drop-off. They gradually lose their pace over time. Once they're up to temp, even after as much as 25%, they start to lose a little bit of speed. So important things to keep in mind for the race strategy, and for the medium tyre runners, so those who started on the medium, the priority is not eking out the medium as far as they can go. It's about getting the perfect balance of pace versus longevity before you have to stop in for the hards, because the hards are going to prove faster in the long run.
Indeed, as Liam Stevens looking to try and make a move on Rishan Jacobs, very close to the back as we make our way through the 6th turn on the circuit with those drivers. A second, 1.7 seconds right now. Riccardo Benzoni behind the three drivers ahead, Brad Holden, Tycho Hardy, and Lukumski. So these three drivers do have a little bit of a gap. Riccardo Benzoni will be looking to bring that in as well with fresher tires slightly. So he'll be trying to get onto the back and should be able to do so as well. He will hope, not of course using too much of those tires at the same time. On the circuit though, the battle for second place is commencing. This is the battle for second place right now at the moment, and Kian trying to get to the inside line. We're going to go three wide momentarily. Who is going to have this position? It seems like Camel Stoutra is going to appear ahead momentarily, but Kian now using a bit of ERS. Is he going to risk it all the way around the outside of turn number 6? Camel Stoutra will back out of it, and through goes Kian Godendorf.
Honestly, sensible move there from Staturo. There was three wide going into turn 4, and when you have a little bit of a heart and mouth moment like that, you don't want to risk it. You'd rather come out alive, even if it is a little bit further back than you'd otherwise like to be. So Staturo still remaining third. Very good driving otherwise from all involved at the top. Godendorf, of course, being very proud of himself, being in that second position, but now he's in a bit of trouble because he hasn't got the DRS. He's not within that 1 second, and he's only just been able to get into that detection zone to Lund. But you've got penalties coming out now. Klavenbach has just been hit with 3 seconds. Molnar's been hit with 3 seconds. Not looking good for them both there.
Yep, especially when the margins have been so close all race. Definitely not what the drivers want at all. The net lead battle continues with Brad Hold'em up to P6 he goes, Lukumski and then Tycho Hardy. They're battling behind as well with Rishan Jacobs, turning it into a traction race up against the man who has a penalty now, Andre Molnar, who is just going to use the ERS, keep the position, but Rishan Jacobs is going to be ultra lit on the brakes as we go down to turn number 4 once again. It'll be a battle on traction between the two of them and who is going to feel bravest as we go down to turn 6. Molnar is going to have the position and he is going to be ahead of Rishan Jacobs, as we also have Liam Stevens waiting for his opportunity as he sees the two cars battle directly in front of him.
He's going to have to lie in wait a little bit longer. Doesn't want to put himself in a compromising position. He's already full on the battery, so he's got all the tools at his disposal. Going to see a little bit of a jet on the battery, on the ERS there, to keep himself in contention. Had a little bit of a wobble coming through the last corner, but this is where it's going to be at. It's going to be the DRS. It's going to be heading into turn 3 now. Is he going to fully commit to it? Not quite. Doesn't look like he's going to be giving it 110%. Lukomski is going to be pushing himself up into 6th position. Net first place, keep in mind. We have got 2 races technically going on, with the top 5 runners all being on their original stint of tyre. So they're going to be coming out around the mid-pack. Oldham's not going to take that one lightly. He's going to retake heading into turn 4, and a very nice dynamic battle and a bit of an ebb and flow from the leaders at this race so far.
Yep, 18 out of 36 at the moment in this one. And the net leading group all now starting to, of course, close in on those drivers on the old hard compound of tyres. And we are seeing 2 of them dive it into the pit lane. So we've got Gregory into the pit lane along with Riley McKay. So those 2 have dived it in. They started on the hards, and now they will be looking to push on all the way till the end of the race on those yellow wall medium compound of tyres. So keep an eye on them.
Yeah, 18 laps on the mediums. They will make it, but they're not going to necessarily be the fastest tyre on Earth in that condition. So certainly something to be wary of and to keep an eye on. We see a bit of a battle at the front of the field. We see Leo Lund and Kia Godendorp going for a bit of a positional trade. Godendorp getting a good run, heading out turn 3, heading into turn 4 with the DRS. Very nicely executed, very clean. Couldn't really say much there because it was just no drama, no fuss. I'm taking P1. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Indeed. So, great battling there for the race lead. Not really much of a contest that time around, but these guys not wanting to lose too much time as well, because while they're battling at the front of the field for first, there is still a huge race ahead of them where they are going to want to be, all of them will be wanting to be the cars on the attack, so they don't want to waste each other's time at the moment, as well as they all come over the line. But it's Lukumski leading the lead battle. Also, the other drivers, it was a 3-car train for this net race leaders. Leo Lund will retake the lead of this one. Now, of course, it has brought in all of the other drivers. As Brad Hold'em is about to take the position, he'll go down the outside, and Lukumski will back out of that one, allow Brad Hold'em to take the place. But we have many of the other drivers who we saw in the first stint in the race they've been able to join back the party in this one, and Riccardo Benzoni is now going to go on the attack, and he's going to pull alongside Tycho Hardy down to their braking zone. They've got to be careful. Lukowski's directly ahead, and Hardy is ahead of Benzoni right now. Hardy able to get on the power and take P6.
Very nicely done there from all of these front runners at the field. In the case of Lukomski trying to defend the attacks from Brad Hold'em, there's not really much you can do. You just have to wait and bide your time until you can go for the actual move you want. So defend coming off of turn 3 would have been reckless. And even closing the gap a little bit into turn 4, you could see that he wasn't quite with the proximity he needed. So he yielded. He waits for the right time, and that's a measure of good racecraft. It's not exactly about having the pace and executing every time. It's about knowing when to execute, knowing when to go for the overtakes, when you're going to put yourself in a position that benefits you in the race, and when you go in a position that could be harmful. We see there a little bit of wobble from Tycho Hardy. He goes very deep, very high commitment. Speaking of, coming into turn 3, locking up as he heads straight into the apex and basically forces his way into second position. But Lukomski is not having any of it, even a little bit of contact on the front wing for Hardy there as they get through to turn 4. Aggressive stuff, impressive stuff. And they're going to continue fighting as we're in the final 15 laps now. We've crossed over the halfway point of the session. Everyone has taken their stops, and it's just a raw race to the finish now.
A full push all the way till the end as well, but at times you do need to be patient. As Sappy mentioned, you do need to pick your moments to make the overtakes, because we could easily result in contact with all of the drivers brawling, going 3 wide at times as well, maybe nearly even 4 wide as we've seen so far in this race. As we make our way onto lap number 22 through turn number 1, let's see who is going to be dishing out the overtakes down towards turn number 3. Brad Hold'em will not really put up too much defense, and through goes Lukomski. We look further back though, and that is Julian Klaffenbach, who is going tight to the inside, and he was trying to find a way to on the outside, I should say, and it's going to be Benzoni up against Hardy. Hardy's going to find a way through, but keep an eye now on Klaffenbach. He'll be hoping that he doesn't get boxed in, and he doesn't get boxed in, and that will open the door now. Klaffenbach is still wheel to wheel with Tycho Hardy in the battle for third position. And it seems like Klaffenbach's got the inside, but will Tycho Hardy risk it around the outside? Nope, so he will back out of that one and secure fourth position ahead of Riccardo Benzoni. Then we have Rishon Jacobs and Liam Stevens still waiting for his opportunity, but he is just picking this moment, does not want to get involved in a battle that is already very heated, a battle that is already very close, as we go nearly 3 wide at times in the battle for third position.
Another solid double overtake from Klaffenbach there. It's going to put him square back on the podium now. And we've got plenty of fighting set to happen as we come into this crucial phase of the race. Now, we've got different strategies all happening at the same time. We've got, of course, Hold'em being one of the first to go into the pits, is putting up a really good fight with Lukomski, but at the same time, eventually there's going to be a bit of a pace deficit. He's going to have to manage that well with the resource, with the good driving placement. We can see there's 3 wide heading into turn 4. Somebody's going to have to yield. It's going to be Lukomski as they head down into turn 4 now. It's going to be Klaffenbach basically staking his claim to the lead. Hold'em is not going to take that one lying down though, as they're both going to be pushing, and another double coming in from Klaffenbach. What are these moves coming from the R8G driver, who went 5th to 3rd and then 3rd to 1st in the space of about 3/4 of a lap?
Klaffenbach, a driver in another league right now when it comes to overtaking. Lots of double overtakes we are seeing, lots of bold moves coming from Julian Klaffenbach, who has now moved up to the race lead. It's Brad Hold'em in second, then it's Lukomski in third, but that was so close. A good decision from Lukomski to back out of that one and not risk 3 wide for the race lead. Onto the straight we go on once again, onto another overtaking opportunity that is going to be coming our way. If your name is Brad Hold'em, who is going to go to the inside line, that will be close to contact between the two of them, and Klaffenbach is still going to contend this battle down towards turn number 4. So who is going to come out on top in the battle for the lead? We also have the battle for third, with Lukomski wanting to turn it into the lead as well, and he's going to go to the inside of Hardy. Brad Hold'em holds the lead. It was nearly 3 wide once again. It's Hardy in second. Will Lukomski be able to risk this one? I think Hardy's going to secure second position for the moment, but in the battle for fourth, it's going to be Rishon Jacobs all the way around the outside of Julian Klaffenbach, who finds himself dropping down to 5th position. It's all changing around very quickly here at Austria.
Without a doubt, Austria being one of the most volatile circuits on the league racing calendar, as exemplified there. We saw a meteoric rise from Klarenfurt into the lead, and then within a lap, he's back down to 5th once again. Turn 3, turn 4, those are the hot spots. Those are the areas that you're going to have to fight and defend within an inch of your life. But a brilliant race and a brilliant run for a lot of these drivers here. It's going to be an absolutely excellent run, but tell you what, who has been sneaking up almost under the noses of everyone? It's Roshan. He's sat P4 and is doing absolutely immense work here. He's laid back, he's let everyone else fight, and he's sneakily gained those positions as the race has gone on. He's currently sat right at the head of things in the heat with the rest of them, but he's not getting himself in too deep and into too much trouble. That's the beauty of it.
That is the crucial thing, not getting himself in trouble, just being there as a contender for this end of the race. That's when it's all going to be decided. We, of course, already mentioned, but Andre Molnar and Julian Klaffenbach do have a penalty. As it stands, that would be crucial, and that would remove any chance that they have of a victory, and it's most likely going to continue like this. So it's going to be crucial for every single driver in this train to not have a penalty, because that would be critical, and it would mean that a chance of victory gone. With how many drivers? We have 8 drivers in the battle for this race lead, and soon with the drivers on the mediums also pushing, they will try and make that an even bigger battle at the end of this race. Talking about battles, we have Rishan Jacobs, who is getting close, and is he going to be brave to the inside? He's going to try double overtake as Lukumski dives to the inside as well. So Lukumski makes the move on Hardy. Then it's going to be Rishan Jacobs, who was even braver, down to the 3rd turn. Brad Holdham leads, and it's Lukumski in 2nd place. Then it's Jacobs, then it's Hardy, having to look in his mirrors. Klaffenbach is looking for the move, so is Liam Stevens. Will Liam Stevens be able to send it all the way around the outside? He's been a driver who has been watching a lot of battles. Now he's involved in one. He's got the inside into turn number 6, and that should be the position gain, but Julian Klaffenbach doesn't want to give it up, but he's going to have to now, and it's Liam Stevens who moves up to P5.
We're going to see a lot of tussling, a lot of back and forth with this entire pack. P3 through to P7 is anyone's game. Molnar a little bit further off the pack. And remember, there's extra pressure on Klaffenbach right now because he has got that penalty on his shoulders. As much as we can praise the on-track moves, whatever he does is going to have an asterisk next to him because he has got those 3 seconds. And those 3 seconds are going to put a massive damper on his race efforts. At best right now, he's going to be looking at a P9, if not further down. But we'll have to, of course, wait and see, because he's still got plenty of fight left in him clearly, as he's once again going to launch an attack through turn 3 on Liam Stevens. Is it going to stick this time? Let's see what he's going to do here. But Roshan is going to also potentially be teeing up a move into turn 4. He's closing in, not going to materialise anything for him just yet. Klaffenbach remaining side by side with Stevens through the entire 1st and potentially 2nd sectors. As we head down the hill now, he is going to yield. And this is going to be a recurring story, I think, for at least a few laps.
It is going to be a recurring story as well. The drivers trying to sort themselves out into positions as well that they want to be in the end of the race. Where do you want to place yourself going on to the last lap? There's 3 DRS zones. It's all to play for. It's all wide open when it comes to a last lap in PSGL, especially Austria, with so many overtaking opportunities. It could go absolutely wild on the last lap. And let's see what sort of tactics we are going to get coming into play. Right now, though, we're just seeing lots of battles, especially if it's from 3rd downwards as well. So up ahead we look. Julian Klaffenbach is now going to try and put the attack. Liam Stevens has to be careful on the brakes, of course, because Tycho Hardy is directly ahead, so you don't want to hit your rival ahead and lose your front wing. Liam Stevens keeping his foot in, though, on the inside line. Lukumski is going to not make the move down to turn number 4. Let's see, though, what is going to be the story in the battle of P5 as Julian Klaffenbach tries to send it all the way around the outside, and he will, I think, have the position unless Liam Stevens is going to risk it, which he is, all the way around the outside of turn number 6. Who's going to get the power down? Still nothing between them as we go down to turn 8, and it's going to be finally the place getting in 5th position for Julian Klaffenbach, and he's been wanting that move for a couple of corners. He's finally got it, and Riccardo Benzoni trying to make a move of his own all the way around the outside of turn number 9, but he's one off the road, and Liam Stevens back into 6th.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a yield from him there. He's not going to be able to take that position, not certainly without incurring the ire of the stewards. I'm noticing with Klaffenbach as well, and a lot of other drivers, when they go for attacking moves, they deliberately go in late, and then they kind of kick the car around, use a bit of slip angle to force the nose in. We've got Roshan now heading in for second. He's going to be going for the attack, deciding now is the time to make that decisive move on Brad Hold'em. He is going to have the DRS courtesy of Lukomski to try and preserve that move, see if he can box him in there. It's going to be pushing, remaining about the central onto the track and using that spacing against himself and Lukomski to get P2. Excellent move from Roshan.
Excellent move indeed. Molnar looking for it on Benzoni all the while. Yeah, and those two are battling over 6th and 7th. Molnar, another driver, of course, with the penalty, just like Julian Klaffenbach, that is hanging over him. So he can be all brilliant with his attack, but that is unfortunately going to impact his end result to this race. He will not give up, though. He will continue in this one. Liam Stevens now finds himself in 8th. We've got the medium runners joining this party as well. The leading one being Kian Godendorp, who of course was leading the race earlier when the other drivers pit. He'll be hoping to return there once again, but those medium tyres will be fading away, and he's got many cars. He's got 8 drivers ahead to pass, which definitely will be a big ask. Let's see what's going to happen in the battle now. Kamil Stoucher has been given a 3-second time penalty. Lukumski is in the lead. Rishan Jacobs, though, is going to have a huge opportunity to get through, all the while being pushed and being attacked from Brad Hold'em. Down towards the braking zone we go once again. Brad Hold'em is going to go down the outside line. He'll try and make the overtake. Sliding his way through is Lukumski right now at the moment. Jacobs later on the brakes and just about holding the position and backing out of it was Brad Hold'em. And is anyone else going to feel brave for a move? It seems like for this lap, that is going to be it. But it'll all continue on lap number 31.
We've got just over 5 laps left to go here tonight, and we've seen chopping and changing, winners and losers certainly for tonight as we switch to a bit of data view. Of course, one of the big winners, 9 positions gained. It's going to be Roshan. A brilliant run, stealthily picking up positions left and right as the rest of the field has fought around him. He's silently taken those positions at the opportune times. And then you've got some drivers who have taken some big drops as well. Molnar, for instance, has dropped massively. Stevens is right on equal by comparison in 8th. Roshan going down into 4th as there's a big cluster of cars heading through. A lot of drivers, in fact, taking a bit of an off-track excursion. Lukomski down into 4th, Hold'em into 6th, Roshan in the lead, and Klaffenbach now into 2nd. Chaos happening at turn 3.
Absolutely wild stuff. Nearly 4 wide, 3 wide though further back as well, with Hardy up against Lukumski, and we have Liam Stevens in there as well, waiting for his opportunity. It seems like Lukumski is going to get through, and then we will look further back and try work out this order. Andrew Molnar has dropped behind Daniel, and it seems like, and Kian Godendorp is also getting through as well. So not what Andrew Molnar wanted.
Molnar suffering hard. It's had a bit of a snap. Now missing an end plate as well. His aerodynamics are compromised. So not looking good for him here. Has dropped down 10 positions over the course of the race. Things are not looking good for him. He can make it to the end. It's not worth a pit stop at this stage in the game. But he's not going to be walking away with any points, anything of value for him tonight at this rate. Fun fact, folks, the reason why all the sponsor boards are black is that we got everyone to drive and do enough donuts around the surface of the outside of the track that constitutes a new part, and it's gone solid black. So there you go. There's your in-law explanation. But we can see Benzoni is going to be peaking and teeing up a move potentially as Klaffenbach is currently in 1st position. Roshan now down to 2nd again. And Benzoni proving the threat on the other side.
Always looming large in the mirrors. Julian Klaffenbach back to the lead. He goes. Drivers have been going up and down all the way throughout this race. But unfortunately, the penalty for Julian Klaffenbach is going to cost him massively if it does finish like this. However it finishes, it is going to cost him massively right now. A 12-car battle for the lead. And Gregory will try his best to make that a 13 as he's going to try and also close in to that 1 second. Directly ahead onto the 33rd lap we go of this race, and we make our way out of the first turn and down towards turn number 3 once again. Let's see if Leo Lance can try and make a move on Liam Stevens. It seems like he is going to be later on the brakes, and Liam Stevens choosing not to fight that one, so he will improve a position. Bit of contact between Leo Lance and Kian Godendorp when Leo Lance got on the brakes, so the front wing should be all okay there for him. Luckily though, in this one, Riccardo Benzoni having a look but deciding to sit behind Christian Jacobs as these drivers try to get into a bit of a rhythm before we move in to the final crucial laps of this one to decide who's winning the third round of the season here in PSGL F2, the Austrian Grand Prix. Let us know in the live chat who's going to take it.
And I'm looking at these top three in particular. I'm looking at how they're setting themselves up. Roshan is in the best position to take this if he remains in second, because I always say this. You want to set yourself up so that you make the overtake on the arse lap, and then your opponent has no opportunity for recourse. Zibil getting another 3 seconds on his docket. I believe he already had a penalty there. No, he didn't. In fact, that's my mistake. So he has now got 3 seconds on his record, and that is going to be unfortunate for him. But Benzoni is, of course, going to be a threat, as Jacobs is going to tee up on the inside, but not fully commit to the move, just purely going for the defensive line, making sure that there's no chance that the rest of the field can try and make an attack. But he wants to set himself up, and all of these three do. They want to be in second by the start of lap 36, so they can get the overtake on the DRS, and then nobody else has a chance to take it back.
Yep, indeed, that is the position that Christian Jacobs wants to be in, as Liam Stevens seems like he's about to lose another position possibly as well, as Daniel is making the move up to P9. He goes, and Liam Stevens hits the back momentarily of Daniel Kelsden, who's been able to move up to 9th position at the moment, and it seems like very close in the battle for P4. Brad Holdham looking for on Riccardo Benzoni. He's Brad Holdham, and all of the drivers behind trying to force themselves into the conversation as we go on to the penultimate tour. They're trying to get into the positions of 3rd and 2nd to have a realistic chance of an attack onto the last lap. Julian Klaffenbach would probably not want to lead. He does have that penalty hanging over him, but he still would feel pride in finishing first on the road. We look to the battle for third. That's going to be close to contact. Valentino Labella's got a 10-second penalty. It seems like Valentino Labella could be retiring. Back to the battle on circuit we go. Christian Jacobs' has lost time, is down to 6/10, and he's going to be under attack now from Riccardo Benzoni, who goes on the grass momentarily in hope of getting to that outside line and in hope of getting to 2nd position. And Christian Jacobs has not had the best exit. Benzoni had a look, wasn't able to do anything with it, and it's still going to be Jacobs who will be the attacker, the main attacker on this last lap. Julian Klaffenbach has got 1st position, has got a penalty, but let's see, will Benzoni be able to stick with Jacobs to also make the move at the same time? We are about to go on to the final lap here at Austria to decide who is going to take victory.
It's penultimate and then final lap chaos here in Austria, as we saw a big send from Benzoni really upset the field. Roshan is in that prime position to take the lead, and there won't be an opportunity for Klaffenbach, but Klaffenbach is half a second up the road, so it is now or never. He needs to put absolutely everything into this move and pray that it works out, because he's got absolutely no chances left. Benzoni is going to be trying to close that gap and do similar. Is Jacobs going to go for it here? He's going to go for it into turn 3. Big lock-up as we head into the corner, forcing him out wide. That is going to be an off-track excursion, potentially drawing the focus of the stewards, but regardless, Jacobs is in the lead. Is there going to be any recourse from Benzoni or Klaffenbach? Benzoni is going to be teeing up side by side. Holdham and Klaffenbach are going to be fighting P3 and P4, regardless of what's happening ahead of them. These top 4 are absolutely electric right now. Jacobs and Benzoni locking horns all the way down through the 2nd sector. It's going to come right up to the line at this rate. They both pumped everything into these attacks. They both pumped everything into these moves, and let's see what they can do. Final couple of corners now. Holdham is going to get involved. It's 4, it's nearly 5 wide as we head into the penultimate corner. That's going to be an off-track excursion. Holdham at the final corner takes it. Holdham wins the Austrian Grand Prix by a hair's breadth.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. Brad Holdham makes the move at the end. A battle that continued all the way from the 3rd turn of the circuit all the way till the line. It's Brad Holdham, though, who takes the victory. Absolutely phenomenal stuff by him. Christian Jacobs in 2nd position. Lukumski in 3rd. And then, of course, we have Julian Klaffenbach dropping down due to that penalty. But what a battle that was at the end.
I need a minute. I need a minute. What a final 3 laps of racing that was. Where do you even go with that? An absolutely brilliant final stint and brilliant race overall. Of course, an amazing performance from everyone at the top end of the field. We are going to see a bit of a chop and change because of those on-track penalties, but provisionally, Here are your final standings, folks. Brad Holdham, with an immense final lap charge, is going to take the checkered flag here at Austria, alongside Rishan Jacobs in P2, and then Lekomsky, Benzoni, and Tycho Hardy making your top 5. Leo Lund, Godendorp, Stevens, Kjeldsen, and Klafferbock, post penalty, are going to make your top 10. And then you have Molnar, Mackay, Zibil, Salsa, Stashera, and Labella finishing to 11th through to 16th, with Jan Halliday retiring on lap 2 and Chemsey retiring on lap 1. Absolutely electrifying race, and those final 3 laps in particular, words honestly betray me, because what kind of thing do you say to a final performance like that other than brilliant driving?
Just incredible. Absolutely speechless after that race as well. Thrilling stuff at the end, thrilling stuff at the start, thrilling all the way through. Absolutely phenomenal race. We both need to breathe after that one.
Yep, I think so. We need a bit of a breather. We're going to see if we get a chance to talk to any of our racers the situation that just occurred, because I think that there's going to be plenty to talk about. I think we're also going to have plenty to talk about from the stewarding side of things. I don't think that is going to be up for question or up for debate, because we've already got a provisional message in the chat from Connor saying, quote, Krypton is on holiday, so go easy on the reports. So we'll have to, of course, see how well the drivers take him up on his word for that. We've already got someone waiting in the wings. It is going to be Rishan, and I think it's only fair, after the amount of positions he made up, that he gets him first on. So let's have a chat. Rishan, can you hear us, my friend?
Yes, I can.
You're very loud, so let me turn you down. But welcome to the commentary box, of course. Absolutely immense race out there. What were your expectations heading into Austria?
Quite honestly, expectation was to win today, but yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with the result today. Some things just didn't go our way today, and yeah, that's really cost us the win today. But I think it's a good sign that managed to fight through the whole field. After dropping all the way to the back after the little incident that I had in turn 1, I got hit up the rear, so I dropped all the way to the back. So yeah, I'm happy with the race pace today, but unfortunately, it couldn't be more straightforward from my POV today.
Well, I got to say, that was certainly a highlight. You making up positions, of course, dropping down a bit, but silently, as the rest of the race was happening around you, just fighting your way through. Were there any particular moments where you were maybe doubting that you'd be able to make it back up to the front, or were you just a very single-minded focus in that regard?
I think it was single-minded, to be honest. For me, I was too focused on the whole race instead of thinking about the broader picture. I just wanted to make positions. After the disappointment of qualifying, heading into the session with such an unbelievable PB from my end, and just messing it up slightly in session, and not getting the perfect RNG as well with how Austria is. I was quite disappointed by that. So the mindset, going into the race was always just to full send and just pray, basically.
Did you come in with a set strategy during the race, or I know we talked to you about expectations, but did you come in with a set strategy, or was it very much on the fly, see how it goes?
Yeah, well, we knew what tire we were going to start on, but once we saw how slow the train ahead of us was, we were just trying to think of what to do, and we came on the decision to pit. I think it was lap 12, which from my engineer was obviously a very good call from him. So massive credits also go out to him for this result. It may not be the win, but still it's solid points to bounce back a little bit in championship after not scoring in the first 2 races. So I still firmly believe that I'm capable of winning the championship this season.
Yeah, don't doubt it one bit, mate. Of course, speaking of the championship and looking at where we are going to in the future, of course, tonight's result does put you in very good stead on that front. But one question I have is, of course, looking at the rest of the calendar, we got break week and then we're coming back with Spain, but the rest of the calendar as well: Hungary, Japan, Jeddah, Mexico, Belgium, Monza, Qatar, and then Brazil. any one of those tracks stick out to you as a favourite, or potentially one that you're worried about this season?
Yeah, well, I have my favorites, of course. I mean, for this calendar, probably Jeddah is my favorite. Absolutely love the flow of that track, and I think we'll be very fast there as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to Jeddah, especially. But apart from that, I don't really. I'm not really too concerned, to be honest. I think we've got the pace, so you know, it's just all about getting it all together, which today was a bit tricky, but you know, we still came out with a good haul of points, so I think that was good enough for us.
Yep, and certainly a run to be proud of. Anything from you, Omi?
Nope, not at all. You have covered it all, Sabby, but well done, Rich and Jacobs. Hoping to see you continue fighting at the front of the field in the remaining races.
Yep, thank you very much.
And there you go, folks. That is Roshan Jacobs. And that is where we wrap for calendar and the races that you can expect to see. Not next week, though, because next week we have a break week. Chance for the team to have a little bit of a break during the summer. Of course, it is the holiday season, so we're going to have a little bit of a break. But we will be back with you the week after to resume this pretty electrifying championship and, of course, keep up the momentum that we had from the race that just went down. So be sure to keep it with us at PSGL. Of course, as always, support the people who support us. Support the likes of GT Omega and Sim Racing Centre. Of course, brilliant sponsors. We're lucky to have them on board, and use code PSGL for a healthy discount at checkout. But with all that being said, folks, we will see you in 2 weeks' time for the Spanish Grand Prix. We'll head to Catalonia, and I am very excited for it. So take care to everyone, and we will see you in next time. Goodbye.